Okay, we'll try d4, d5. See how it goes. braving, braving the dangers of the London system. He plays with the knight to c3 move. So if they do that, you can play the win-hour gambit. This is the one gambit I've learned how to play. And I like it because you get the pawn back. So it's not such a gambit, but I think it's kind of interesting. So you bring the queen out here with check and then take the pawn back. Defending here and attacking the knight. There are other ways to play. He could have blocked with the knight too. Now this is hanging and he's got to move it again or defend it. But if he defends it, it's actually a little bit in an awkward position. So anyway, that's why in the Slav, playing the white side against the Slav, you normally develop with the knight to f3 instead of knight to c3, because that knight f3 prevents all this. But I see knight c3 surprisingly often. I do not see that move very often. But it's valid, right? It saves that knight. But where's he going to go when I kick him? He might bring this knight out. Can put the queen here. Can then move this knight here. So I should just ignore him for a move. Get my knight out. Take control of this square, or contest that square. So now I can kick the knight and he can't go here. And in fact, if he plays h3 somewhat incautiously, he's going to fork me. Oh no, oh no, what do I do about this? So I kick his knight, he forks my queen and knight. I go here and pin the pawn. Against his king. I think at that point he has to move his knight. Finds a clever way out of this one. I'll suspect he's using a computer. So I can put my knight here and try and round up this pawn. Or I could put my knight back here. Yeah, I think I just can take this pawn. And he can't easily attack my knight here. And he can't easily add an extra defender to the pawn. He can put the bishop here. I take that back. He has a defense. But I can bring my knight out and attack it again. He can take this pawn. So it becomes a trade. He does none of the above, interestingly. Okay, time to I need to get my king and queen off of that line up there. Although I kind of want to defend this pawn first, so let's see if this works. Hitting this knight here. I don't mind. So I've just got an extra pawn now. I have to move the bishop out and castle. I'm opposing his bishop because I think that dark squared bishop is a troublemaker. Has no good squares, so I can force a trade of some kind. We get the trade, and I get to castle too, I think. He manages to escape with his knight. Okay, let's bring my knight out. Then bring my bishop out. So that one, I thought I would take it, but actually it's not doing any damage there, right? Let's oppose rooks. Don't want to give him access to the only open file here. Don't want to give him control of it. This is my second game this session. The first one ended in a draw. We had very even games so far. Okay, so the file is contested. It's not going to be given up so easily. Push this pawn and put my knight here. Put my knight here. Asking his bishop where it wants to go. I assume he doesn't want to let me take. Yeah. So he does that. I take, he takes with the rook. And then I can move my knight with check, hitting his queen and the rook. I think that works. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work because he takes with the pawn and it defends his rook. I was thinking his rook was loose, and I have a knight move with check. But when he takes with the pawn, it defends. Okay, back here then. Just back here. I have the knight up here. Let's get rid of one pair of rooks. And then ask about that knight. Actually, that was a bad move. That was a bad move. He can take it and then take this pawn. Yep. Bad move. I can threaten mate. That doesn't really work. Well, it buys me enough time to get my queen to a better position. Okay, so I can check. check and check, but that's not defended on that square. Okay, my pawns are all defended. See, if I push a pawn. Now let's go back here and threaten the check. Probably a draw. I mean, it's too open. And the queens, pawns are even. The queens will give too many checks. Catman, thank you for the wishes. I blundered once already, but and I had a chance. I had a chance in the first game. I could have picked up something. Okay, so he says it's okay for me to check him here, huh? I'm not sure I believe that. Okay, if he just wants a trade, we will do that. If he steps forward, I can blockade his king. Get out of the way of the pawn so I can push it. Problems with the open view, like always. Yeah, it was kind of a tricky situation. I had time though. I should have been able to figure it out. There was a logical move. Not sure. I don't want these pawns to get too weak, so I'm trying to figure out the best way to position them, but I'm not sure. Oh, well, he's going to maybe let me get an outside passer. Okay. Yeah, he is. Look at that. Well, I'm going to start running, and he's got to run back. He's got to run back. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I take on 5. He moves here on 5. I take again on 5. He takes, and then I step out of the way. Oh, I take again. Yeah, I think I win. Looks like a win. Okay, so he didn't go after my pawns. He's trying to protect his. So he's got to defend that pawn, but he can't. He cannot defend it because I'm covering these two squares. So the king has to move away, or he has to push a pawn. So I win. All right, well, that was a nice kind of endgame win. Yeah. It was, yeah, my mistake was this move. It was just a one-move mistake. He blundered in the opening. No, I guess it was the middle game. What was this? He gave me a pawn here. Yeah, he gave me this pawn. This is the opening still, I guess. And I had to suffer for it. That's the nature of this gambit. But I blundered a couple times giving him a pawn back. If we look at this here, Yeah, at the time I took this pawn, instead of taking my knight, he could have taken this pawn, and it would have been materially even, and I would still have a slightly awkward position. So he blundered by giving me that pawn, which is why I defended it right away. And then much later in the game, yeah, I played this move, which was a mistake. I should have done this first, at least. If I had pushed this pawn first, and then put the knight up there, then I could have taken back this way. But as it is, I can only take back this way, and then he gets the pawn back. So it should have been even, but I managed to swindle him in the end game there. Well, he let me in. I'm curious if this is a win at this point. Nah, it's still even. So his actual blunder was... it didn't like that so much, huh? Says he has a win after this. So, and then I have a win after this. So his win, let's look at that. He takes, I take. Oh, and then he pushes here. Yeah, he forces me to move. And then he can go over and mop up these pawns. So it was blunder on blunder in the end game. So I should have gone for the outside right away. But anyway, after he defended here, then I was able to exchange and go for the outside. And then that's winning for me. Interesting. Let's get another game. Okay, we'll try e4, e5, see what he comes up with. Minotaur. Maybe we're getting a Rui Lopez or an Italian game or a Scotch game. And Morbius, thank you for the follow. The Italian game. Okay, so I like to play the two knights. Defense to the Italian game. Nobody expects the two knights. So he didn't defend this pawn, although he can put a rook here, huh? I forget. I'm going to just take this pawn and see what happens. I think this is a reasonable gambit for white. I forget how he plays it exactly. Like so. Anyway, my idea was to play this move. Defend the knight, attack the bishop, protect the pawn. And just give him the pawn back. And then I'm going to get castled. Oh, I should have taken his bishop. Oh, if I took his bishop, he'd take my knight. That's kind of a pain, huh? But I wasn't even looking at that. That was funny. I was so expecting him to play pawn takes pawn. Ah, he plays knight takes pawn. Yeah, that's a reasonable move too. So if I take his knight, yeah, I still lose that my knight. Let's just castle. So I don't have to worry about this one. Ah, so he moved his bishop finally. I'd like to get an attack going here. If I take with the knight and he takes with the king, I have a bishop here check, but he can block with the pawn. And I have queen here check. It's probably not enough. Okay, so he's going to take here and win a pawn. Maybe I should do something about that first. And then if he kicks my knight away, this pawn is defended by the bishop and the rook, so I guess not too terrible. Terrible. I could consider advancing with the c-pawn. Let's see, so I can kick his bishop. He can put his bishop here. I can oppose his bishop. Or I could advance the pawn. I like advancing pawns. That's my thing. It's like a replacement pawn. If he takes, I'll take with the bishop. If he doesn't take, I'll take here. The bishop and knight will concentrate on this square. Let's see, queen here. Attacks this pawn. Is also an idea. Minotaur, what you got? He can defend this pawn, so he could take, let me take, and then just bring the rook over, up or over. Try to expose my rook in the corner, or my undeveloped bishop. None of the above. Okay, like I said, I'm going to take. But you know, maybe I will develop this bishop first. And bring a rook over. That will improve my position, I think. And then I can take and then put a bishop here, even if he takes back with the queen. So he's starting to gang up on my knight. This pawn will become vulnerable, but I'll be attacking this one if he just takes. He's got 2 on this pawn, but I'll have 2 on this pawn. And my bishop stops him from defending with the rook. He could defend with his bishop. I don't know how this is. I just don't know. He also has this diagonal towards my king now that I pushed the f-pawn, so I got to be careful about that one. What you got? But what I want to do is pawn takes pawn and bishop to f5, or c5 rather. Right there. Okay, so I think I can do this, huh? Okay, yeah, he can get that pawn. That is true. I can win the exchange here, it looks like. Unless he's got some trick with his knight. Ah, I win the bishop too. Okay, that was cute. I forgot about that, but it's still I'm still a piece up if he takes my knight. If he takes my knight, I take the rook. If he takes my bishop, I take his bishop. And I'm a knight up. And the pawns are even. So I think I got this one fair and square. Pretty interesting clash there. He got one last fork that I hadn't seen, but it didn't save him because I had one tactic I hadn't seen. Okay, so he just defends. Maybe he's hoping to catch me off guard. Let's defend the bishop here so I can take with check. If he takes the knight, I'll take the rook. Got a passed pawn. Got a pinned bishop. Okay, let's bring the king up. No sense in taking till he unpins. Or he takes. To get rid of that pawn. I'm not sure why he's still playing, but he's a fighter for sure. So I'll just come over here and defend these pawns. He resigned, yeah. I mean, if he pushes, I block, so eventually the king will have to give way, and then I can march it forward. Easy win. New opponent. Okay, yeah, let's just get a random 5 and 3. Like I said, oh, well, I just did e4, so let's do d4. As black, I'm due to the French, but as white, I can play this. Yep, that was good. Show people what a good player looks like. All right. So this is a standard Queen's Gambit declined. The way I remember this is if they push this pawn, you develop this knight. And if they push this pawn, you develop this knight. So just the opposite. That way you prevent the 1 hour gambit, and this is okay. Now you can develop a knight here. I like to defend my pawn, which was hanging. Black could have taken it before, but white gets it back, so it's not a big deal. And even here, after bringing the knight out, black can take, and white still gets the pawn back eventually. But it gets tricky. Oh, this is like a Tartakower. Oh no, who was that? I forget the name of that one. Yeah, this line allows the knight up. You can push it and kick it. And get an extra pawn in the center. He takes, you take, he takes, you take. But it's a bit of a fragile pawn majority. And black has good counterattacking chances. And both sides are behind in development. Yeah, so putting pressure on the center, very logical. And I'm defending. I thought they usually exchanged first, but I may have that wrong. I'm planning to pin this knight and then get castled. Okay, the knight is unpinned, so I was wondering if I could exploit the pin in some way, but now that it's gone, there's not much I can do. I think maybe I can put the bishop over here, support the center this way. Maybe I put the rook over here opposite the queen. Might be interesting. So he put his rook opposite my queen. He takes, I take, knight takes, knight takes. And then he kicks it with a pawn and wins a piece back because he gave up a piece. Takes, 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 pawn up. How about if I just step aside with the queen? Takes, takes. It's well defended. And I can bring a rook over anyway. Rook's on the C and D file. Okay, so the queen will take this if I take it. The queen will take back. Bishop b3 looks more natural and less risky than bishop b2. Got to go. Okay, well, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time, maybe. Yeah, maybe my love of fianchettos here is getting me in trouble here. But yeah, I don't play at a high enough level that that's usually a problem. Let's see, so I can take the knight and then move my knight here. I kind of like that. Interesting analysis of that game. Instead of playing h6, the computer wants you to play knight takes f5, and then if I play rook takes knight, you take pawn takes pawn, and it's level. Oh my gosh. Huh. He's he's attacking me. What am I going to do here? If I hit the queen with my knight, which is what I intended to do, he just takes this pawn. If I go here, okay, so just extra force on that pawn so I can play the knight up. So you have to play pawn takes pawn, but you probably would have snatched the knight. Yeah, I'll have to look at that. Okay, let's do this because I can. And then worry about how to defend this pawn. You know, one thing at a time. I can threaten a mate here. That was what I liked about it. Okay, he takes, I take. I need to get a rook over here, huh? Oh, you want me to move my knight? You don't like it there? Dangerous battery with his queen. Yeah, I saw that. I was definitely scared. So he wants to take one of these pawns over here. This pawn is weak, so I wonder if I can target it in some way. I don't have a light squared bishop anymore, though. Queen here is covered. You know, how about if I play c5 and then with the c4 with the idea of playing d5? Play c4 and he takes. I've got it covered, knight, bishop, and but then I lose the c5 pawn, the c4 pawn. c4, he takes. Oh, so now he takes. And that was something I was expecting a long time ago. So he's going to, he's going to try and get this pawn, huh? I don't think I'll let you have it. Oh, there's the rub. He's gonna get that pawn eventually. He's gonna take and then grab the pawn, huh? I have a double attack down here. So he went back. Okay, my opponent is playing too well. Why are they all so good today? Going to threaten this pawn if he takes this pawn. Actually, he can't take it, can he? Okay, so pawn here, he takes, I take, bishop takes. So let's put the rook behind it. Oh, but then I lose this pawn, huh? Hard to find a good move. Get off the back rank. Okay, so if I push here, what are you doing? He's just moving quickly, I guess. Ah, he's doing that. Is that a check? It's hitting this pawn. It's doing that. Yeah, he's just moving too quick. So this is mate, right? Check. And mate. All right. Well, that was close. Let's see. If we look at the analysis board for a second. No, no, not that. Stop it. Stop it. Back. I hate it when I click the wrong button. Analysis board. Yeah, so what I took here, I was threatening here. And he didn't respond. So, but before that, he was starting to really tear into me. But, well, it wasn't all over. It's a -2, so that's winning. Taking was the best chance. Yeah, that was a good game. If he had taken a2, you got a7 pawn in return. Oh, back when the queen was over here attacking a2. There was also this, is what I saw, which wins a piece. So I think that pawn was never really in danger. But it does say that black has the advantage along here if it's played correctly. Yeah, it felt like I was getting squeezed here. Can we identify my mistake? The knight move. I love my knight moves. So the knight move was the mistake. And I should have pushed here. I kept looking at this pawn push, thinking this would be good at some point. But every time I looked at it, it seemed like he just wins a pawn. I mean, why can't he take? Ah, this is good because I have the battery here. That's good. So this was my chance. If I had pushed d5 here instead of playing the knight move, which I'd been trying to get in for a long time, then I would have been winning. After this, I'm losing, but then it swings back and forth, and then I win at the end. So fun game. Anyway, that's it for this session. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by. I still don't have any regular schedule, but it's usually this time of day that I stream. I just don't know which days I'm going to be able to stream. So anyway, follow me to get notifications for when I'm streaming, and I will see you all next time. Bye now.